I'm James Brierton. In Charlotte, a state of emergency has been declared in Alleghany County, North Carolina, after a historic 5.1 magnitude earthquake earlier this morning here on Sunday, August the 9th. It was the fifth strongest earthquake in Carolina history and the strongest in the Carolinas since 1916. Luckily, no one was injured, but minor damage has been reported at over 100 buildings across the area and near the epicenter in Sparta. That's where our Scotty Powell was earlier today.
I'm Scotty Powell here reporting just outside of Sparta, North Carolina, where you've seen a lot of the earthquake damage. Again, a 5.1 magnitude earthquake rocked Sparta, North Carolina earlier this morning, just after 8 a.m. A lot of damage to some roads, to some structures. In fact, some folks have been displaced from their home. I've never witnessed earthquake damage, but it definitely was something that I wasn't surprised to see. These big, deep craters crossing the road. Thankfully, not a lot of those craters, but some of them on the roadways that will definitely have to be filled up. Also, some structural damage to homes, a lot of rocks and things like that that have fallen off. So that's what it looks like here from Sparta. Again, a 5.1 magnitude earthquake. Again, the USGS already in town doing some surveys. Emergency officials say that homes have been affected, but thankfully no injuries related to these earthquakes. From Sparta, North Carolina, I'm Scotty Powell for the Carolina Weather Group.
The mayor of Sparta has declared a state of emergency, and Alleghany County Sheriff Bryan says he's spoken to White House officials about what has happened in their community. Sheriff Maines also spoke with our Scotty Powell earlier today.
I actually woke up with the crashing of picture frames hitting the floor at my house. I live just over the hill here, and so it was pretty chaotic at my house. All the neighbors experienced a lot of chaos, and we've been going around today looking for injured folks. We've not found any major injuries, and so we're just so thankful that we've not had any reported major injuries right now on folks, and we're so thankful that there's no one been reported stuck in their home, things of that nature. There's been some folks that have had to leave their homes now because it's not safe to stay there. So
there were smaller earthquakes ahead of the 5.1 magnitude earthquake, and USGS geologist Dr. Arthur Mashat says the cause of Sunday morning's earthquake is still under investigation.
First bit I got out here, this officer took me here to see just the cracks in the road. Just looking for any to document any of the surface rupture or any of the other breaking of the structures or damage from the earthquake.
So Western North Carolina, known for smaller earthquakes, 5.1 right now. Pretty big event for North Carolina standards, correct?
Yes.
We normally see smaller earthquakes. Kind of tell us, is this a fault area? What may have triggered this?
It's simply, we don't know. Most of the eastern earthquakes are intraplate seismicity, so they're not tied with the direct fault. There are lots of zones, as you mentioned. There are zones that are known for more seismicity in the east. East Tennessee seismic zone, Charleston, South Carolina, Giles County have all known, and Central Virginia are known for seismicity in the area. Nothing here, so we don't know any recent faults or anything to tie it with.
Reports of shaking and tremors could be felt upwards of 150 miles away from Alleghany County, North Carolina on Sunday morning. We have 3 reports for you coming up, one from Greensboro, one from Charlotte, and one from Bristol. And we start in Greensboro, where WFMY Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley spoke with our own Evan Fisher to recount his early morning wake-up call.
So bizarre. You don't expect anything like that in North Carolina. We get earthquakes from time to time. Sometimes they happen, and most of the times we don't even know about it because they're so weak. Usually on the order of a 1 magnitude or a 2, or maybe closer to a 3 if you're rounding. But a 5.1 earthquake is pretty unprecedented. I mean, it's happened before, but by our records, it looks like this is the strongest one to have an epicenter in the state since back in 1916. And that was actually near Asheville in Skyland, North Carolina. So anyway, it happened this morning about 8:07. Everyone probably has a little bit of a different story. For me, I was sleeping soundly And then it happened and I really woke up, and bizarre. I've never felt an earthquake before. So for me, that was a first. I've missed the other ones. This one definitely was strong enough to wake me up. And checked my phone right away. Tons of messages on Facebook, on Twitter, emails. Everyone immediately, this was within like 5 minutes, wanted to know what was going on. And it took a little bit for that report to come in from the USGS, where we get our earthquake info. But once it did, it was pretty clear. Yeah, that was a strong earthquake and it wasn't that far away. Starting to see some trickles in of damage reports here and there, mainly in that Sparta, Blue Ridge area. But even a little removed from that, I have a weather spotter up in Stokes County, which is just 2 counties away from Alleghany, where the earthquake was, and he has a cracked, a little crack in his roof, the ceiling, I guess, on the inside of his garage. So more than I've ever seen since I've lived in North Carolina over the last 10 years. And, you know, even if you lived here 100 years, I think it counts for that too.
Chris Mulcahy is a meteorologist with WCNC Charlotte. He was working Sunday morning when the earthquake first occurred and recounts some of the reports of those tremors that his newsroom received.
And I didn't feel anything here. So I live in Northwest Charlotte. But one thing that was really miraculous when I was out here, that time in the morning, early part of 8 o'clock, a bunch of messages were coming in saying, hey, did you feel that earthquake from Denver, North Carolina? Did you feel that earthquake from TKK? Did you feel that earthquake in the southern parts of Lancaster County? This was a big deal. No matter what, even though I didn't feel anything, I gotta admit I'm a little bit disappointed, but seeing this unfold live time as we were doing our cut-ins for the Today Show, this is a historic event. Over 100 years ago is the last time that we had anything close to this. And even though there was one back in 1926 that was just a little bit stronger or similar strength, that's still a long, long time. So this is a big historic event. And one thing that I love that I learned today is that every year worldwide, there are 500,000 roughly earthquakes that are detected. Of those, only 100,000 earthquakes are actually felt. The big fact, only 100 of those 500,000 produce damage. So that means the chances of this happening worldwide is a 0.0002% chance of happening.
Our own Ricky Matthews works in Bristol, Tennessee, and here's what they saw in their community.
Here in the Tri-Cities, where we felt the quake over the mountain chain, even though we're about 80 miles or so from where the epicenter was. If you kind of go from Kingsport, Tennessee, or kind of Johnson City, Tennessee, a lot of people in our area still reported feeling the shaking this morning. Right after 8 o'clock, started to get reports of people saying they felt something, and my Twitter feed lit up of all the reports from people saying that we felt an earthquake, or we think we felt an earthquake, and suddenly we were in a we were kind of trying to gather information, but a lot of reports of people experiencing shaking for a few seconds in our area. No reports of any type of damage in our area, but certainly something that kind of caught a lot of people by surprise early Sunday morning when they were just trying to sit down and enjoy their coffee.
And there you have it. It seems 2020 had another trick up its sleeve, but we're happy to report once again no injuries following that 5.1 magnitude earthquake near Sparta, North Carolina, on Sunday morning. Before we go, a quick tropical update for you. There is a tropical wave located a few hundred miles off the African coast. It continues to show signs of organization. A tropical depression could form in the next few days as the wave moves west at about 15 miles an hour. The next storm, if it were to be named, would be Josephine. On behalf of everyone here at the Carolina Weather Group, including Evan Fisher and Scotty Powell, I'm James Brierton in Charlotte. Thanks for joining us for this special edition of the Carolina Weather Group, and we'll see you back here again real soon.